Welcome back to the Stormcrow Show. My name is Josh.
And I'm Brady.
Welcome back, Brady.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. And let's see, today, and correct me if I'm wrong, we are discussing, your thoughts on Season 5, or Volume 5 of RWBY.
Okay.
And then we're going to discuss some theories that we have about how the series finale, whatever that is, how that's going to look, how that's going to kind of play out, based on what we've seen so far through the first 5 volumes of RWBY.
Perfect.
Okay, excellent. Brady, what were your thoughts? What did you like? What did you not like? Take us away.
Sure. Well, after watching your video, for the most part, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Okay.
I'm going to say the biggest thing that I did not like about the season was that there were supposed to be these battles between these highly skilled individuals, like Mercury Emerald versus Team RWBY, Hazel, whoever else. And the only really good fight that we got out of all of that was the one between Raven and Cinder.
True.
And this was a little... I felt like these fights could have been done so much more epically. Like, think back to Season 3 during the Vital Festival. We saw combatants going head-to-head with each other, and we got some really good fights out of that season. Here, it was like, no, we're going to lock swords, have a little bit of a conversation, and then just shut it off or whatever. A lot of the fights seem to be lost in the background or lost or just off camera.
Yeah, I guess they kind of toned down the epicness of the battles largely.
So that would be my biggest complaint. Overall, I liked the season.
Okay.
There was a lot of information there. Again, some of it was repetitious, but that's okay. You know, I mean, I'd rather have a story being built rather than just a bunch of fight scenes all crammed together with no story.
True. We don't want a repeat of a Michael Bay film or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, he's been successful, so, you know. Anyways, yeah, so why don't we get to the theory portion of this video, since that's pretty much all I had to say about Volume 5. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, Team Orange is going to be a thing.
Do you want to explain what that means?
Yeah. Oscar, Ren, Nora, Jean.
Yeah.
Team Orange. Like, how else were you going to get Team Orange if not now? Especially since they seem to be best buds now.
I'm trying to figure out if there's anyone whose name starts with a G in this series that we know of.
Well, there's Gira, but he's a little old to be on a team.
Yeah. So, I think we do want to emphasize a couple things before we start. Is one, this is based on what we're observing now and kind of how the story arcs are going. Some of these will be a little more fluid in terms of what we think will happen because it's really not clear. In either case, though, hopefully, well, not hopefully, I shouldn't say that. I don't hope for these things necessarily happen. And we're just seeing how this is going and what we're predicting probably will happen. Not necessarily what we want to happen. And I guess I'm taking the first character, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're talking about Teams RWBY and Juniper, just to clarify. Specifically, starting with Team RWBY, and in particular, Ruby Rose. You know, her character is the hero. She's learning. She's the one who is altruistic and wants to do the right thing at all times. She's not, of course, the best fighter. She has her flaws, of course. But all the same, she's got that drive. And that was really emphasized, especially during that conversation in, I think it was Volume 2, like, why do you want to be a huntress?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in fact, I don't think she was asked that question, but everybody kind of knew why she wanted to be a huntress. The point is, she's the type of character that probably is going to die at the end of the series. I mean, probably an epic hardcore battle with Salem. Salem, of course, makes kind of a dark comment in some ways about how the smaller, more innocent, or what was the line there?
Oh, like when she's talking
back to Ozma at the end of Season 3.
Oh, okay.
The smaller, more.
Yeah, I don't remember the line, but it's the last it's the same conversation that they have at the beginning of episode 1 of season 1, and the last episode of season 3.
Right.
So
yeah, and she goes, she will suffer the same pitiful demise or something like that.
Yeah.
There's kind of that vibe there that RWBY is probably not coming out of the series alive. It'll have a happy ending ultimately, but there will be, we'll be crying a lot.
Sure.
Someone will be crying a lot somewhere out there.
Yeah, well, like, when you first brought this up, I was like, unfortunately, I can totally see this happening. I mean, I hadn't thought of it on my own, and when you first told me, I was a little bit shocked, and then I thought about it, I was like, oh, yeah, actually, I can totally see that happening now.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. So, why don't we go on to Weiss? You had some thoughts on it. And also, we can talk about Blake, too, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I expect that Weiss is going to be back at Beacon, and she's going to be a teacher. And a lot of our theories are based on types that we've seen so far show up in the story.
Sure.
So, somebody who's very similar to Weiss is Glinda Goodwitch. And I could totally see Weiss fulfilling the role that Glinda Goodwitch currently has, which is, I'm kind of like the one who's going to beat you children into submission. I have a good heart, but I'm going to beat you into submission and tell you not to play with your food, not to lock people in lockers and send them flying, not to use your weapons to, I don't know, hunt down that pesky mouse that's in your room. I mean, I don't know. But basically that's what I see Weiss as being. Because she already has kind of fulfilled that role. She's always been slightly cranky, but she has a good heart, and she's extremely powerful.
True. So in other words, basically, all the students are doomed to, like, unless they're very good, they're doomed to earning those C minuses.
Yeah, she'll be the only teacher where the best you can come out of her class with is like a B. Anyways, then Blake, speaking of B,
okay.
So with her, there's kind of two different routes. The first route is going to be the Disney, well, I kind of call it the Disney happily ever after fairy tale ending.
Sure.
Which is she gets married to Sun, and then they go to Menagerie, and the White Fang by that time is reformed, and they are doing a lot of good with White Fang. They maybe form a Huntsman Academy in Menagerie.
Sure.
And life is just peachy.
Okay, so what's the non-peachy version?
The non-peachy version is she dies. Just straight up is killed. And the reason for this is there's this continuing story arc of her always running away from a fight.
True.
They emphasize that again in Volume 5.
Sure.
And it's going to come down to that final fight where it's going to be like, oh, are you going to run away again, or are you going to stand and fight? And she's going to be all, I stand and fight, and I save my friends, save the day, and I'm also dead.
Yeah.
So, again, I think out of all the members of Team RWBY, I think Ruby's the most likely to die, but I think that Blake also has a fairly high mortality rate.
Okay.
So, anyways, and then you can talk about Yang.
Okay, yeah, so with Yang, again, assuming that RWBY dies, Yang's character is... First of all these characters have grown. Obviously, Blake is not running away all the time anymore. She makes that very clear. But, even with your flaws, you don't overcome your flaws without some danger of some regress or mistakes in the future. You always have to work at improving. With Yang, she's also improved as well. But the thing is, I think she'll live. She'll be different, though, after RWBY's death, obviously. She'll probably be more like Crow, is actually what your thought was. She won't be teaching at Academy, but she'll be scouting. She'll be more on-the-field type person as opposed to being a teacher. If I recall correctly, that was kind of your thought. And I agree. It makes sense, because she's the one who wants to go out and have a crazy adventure all the time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so... But she won't be like the depressed alcoholic that Crow is, either. Although sometimes she does sometimes hint that, right? She's like, oh, I want that one strawberry sunrise with a cute little umbrella, or the way she drinks that water at the beginning of Season 5. I mean, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's very Crow-esque. But
yeah. But in any case, I think she'll be different, more mature, and I think there'll be some... She'll miss her sister, of course. But she's not going to be like Crow, but she's going to not in the sense of the depressive side, but she's going to be probably more of the one who likes to wander a lot more and patrol areas and check for danger and have adventures. Yeah, so I think that's kind of it for Yang that I can think of.
Yeah, and I guess I would just add that, honestly, in addition to the fact that she's always been kind of more of that character, it's also the fact that once RWBY is dead, she's probably not going to want to hang around Beacon very much. Like, she'll work for the good of Beacon,
right?
But she's not going to want to work within its walls.
Right, no, that's true.
So.
Alright, so on Team Juniper, well, we should probably take the easiest one first.
Okay.
Which is Pyrrha. And yes, we have a Pyrrha video. Will Pyrrha Nikos come back? I think with Cinder, which, we're kind of thinking she's definitely dead.
Yeah.
So basically, if Pyrrha is stored somewhere, I think the storage container would have to break at this point. So by Season 6, we'll know if Pyrrha's alive. But if she's not alive in Season 6, I think Pyrrha's just dead.
Yeah.
At that point. That's my educated guess, at least.
Yeah, it kind of breaks my heart to say that, especially since I thought we had a really good case going with our theory video.
Sorry, Sheridan, it was a great idea, but the evidence is starting to lean very heavily against that.
Yeah, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, so there's that, and then let's go quickly to Jean.
Yeah, so again, looking at kind of the types that we've seen so far, I think, surprisingly, he's actually very much like Ozpin, in the sense that I could see him being the headmaster of Beacon at the end of the series, because he seems very much more like the calm person. He snuck into Beacon because he was so desperate to be a hero and to be a warrior, just like his ancestors.
Yeah.
And it's you can kind of guess that Ozpin knew that all along, and that he still let Jean in because apparently Jean has a really good heart. And he's also been seen as a strategist. He's also not a total washout as a leader goes.
No, he's not, actually.
He seems to be actually a pretty good leader, which is also, it kind of fits the role, like, maybe does that mean he and Weiss get married?
Yeah, they marry and take over Beacon.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I don't know, but... So that's my theory for Jean, is that kind of the unlikely hero becomes the master.
So much shipping!
The Padawan has become the master. That's what we're supposed to take away from this.
Oh.
Not the shipping.
Okay.
The Padawan has become the master.
Fine, fair enough.
Anyways, and then Josh?
Ren and Nora?
Right?
Yeah. So, again, kind of a divergent path thing, sort of the happy path and the sad path. I think whatever happens, though, I think the path will be the same for both because they'll be so heavily connected.
Mm-hmm.
Either they get married, at the end of the series, have kids, maybe teach at one of the academies, maybe from Haven. It seems like everybody's from Anima.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we'll do that in a later episode to show you how many characters actually seem to hail from the Mistral side of the world, of the groups of RWBY and Juniper. But whatever the case being, that's the happy story that we can kind of see going. The other one is that they're so heavily connected that if one dies, the other will die.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, like, it seems like, Ren gets knocked over, Nora gets really panicky and goes to help him. Same vice versa. I mean, they're always caring about each other, but those two are so heavily connected that I think if one does die, it's going to be with the other because they're going to be so close together that one's going to fight. They'll both have each other's back to the death sort of thing.
Sure.
So I don't know how it's going to go, but that's kind of where I see the paths going.
Sounds good.
And that's everyone, right?
That's everyone.
All right.
So,
Zwei will live through the whole thing, though, right?
Oh, yeah, he will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Please subscribe. It really helps us out.
So...
Tell us to subscribe, too.
Yeah. Tell your friends. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, my name is Josh.
I'm Brady.
And this has been the Star Pro Show. Have a wonderful day.